Welcome to this presentation on mindset theory. And I used some of the information from a class down at Azusa Pacific from Dr. Hume from 2012. So our big question in this particular presentation is how can we foster a growth mindset? That's the type of mindset we want to have in our classes. So Dr. Carol Dweck, excuse me, out of Stanford University, has done quite a bit of research in this area. She's a psychologist, and so if you are interested in this particular theory, you would want to go read some of her articles and books. So she has this nice quote. She said that the view that you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life. A lot of truth in that. What we think about ourselves is what we will do. We talked about growth, at least two mindsets when we talked about deeper learning. When we talked about with deep learning, we would foster a growth mindset, and where a surface learning type class would be a fixed mindset. So a fixed mindset person, both student and teachers, believe that intelligence is static, and you're born with as smart as you're going to be. You're never going to get. You're going to eventually reach a certain point, and you're not going to get any further than that. The classical way that this is seen is, oh, I don't do all that good at math. To me, that's I just don't. My mind doesn't work that way. I'm not good at math. Whereas a growth mindset, a person believes that intelligence is always growing, developing. I'm not limited because of my intelligence. I'm going to go over these 5 different areas for both. So with a challenge, when there's challenges in classes, or if they know certain areas are very challenging to a fixed mindset person, they're going to avoid them. It's that math person. I don't do math. So I'm not going to take any math at all. If I can just do the least amount of math possible, I will. So they avoid it as all possible. Whereas on the growth mindset, it's an opportunity to grow. That's how they see challenges. They embrace it. It's all good for them. Obstacles, if it's too difficult, I'm just going to quit. I'm not going to go any further. Whereas on the growth mindset, they think that obstacles, I've heard in sports talk radio and TV and stuff like that, they have intestinal fortitude. I never understood the intestinal part of that, but they have, I guess that's the guts. They don't give up. They'll stick through the obstacle, whatever it is in a class. They see the fixed person doesn't see any point of giving effort, because it doesn't really make a difference if I give any effort. I never do good in classes anyways because I'm not that smart. Whereas the growth person has seen that effort does matter, and if I put effort into my work, it pays off in the end. Now I'm going to say something here that's pretty important about effort. From a teacher's viewpoint, and I'm going to talk about this in just a bit, is that for us to help somebody go from, because you can change somebody's mindset, they don't have to stay at the fixed. And we have to teach students the correct type of effort to put in their school work. I studied a lot. Oh, yeah? So tell me, how did you study? Where were you at when you were studying? I was at Starbucks. What were you doing there? I was studying. How do you study? Get into the details of how they study, into the effort that they put into it, because what they think may be effort may be distracted effort. They're on Facebook, they're tweeting, they're texting, and they think they're studying. That's not studying. That's social networking. That's not studying. So you have to tell students what kind of effort they need to give in order to be successful. like I say, you need to put at least 2 to 3 to 4 5 hours a day in this class, in this program. You need to set aside time every single day, 3 to 5 hours per week for every class. Well, not probably every class, but at least every day, 2 to 5 hours where you're just doing schoolwork in order to be successful in this online program. When a fixed mindset person gets feedback from a assignment and they don't do well, they are defeated, or they deflect, which means, oh, that teacher doesn't like me. Whereas on the growth mindset, a student will get will get criticism, and they'll learn from it, and they'll take it and say, okay, I can see that. Let me see how I can get better. Again, this is just not in school. This is at work too. All this stuff comes into play not only at school, it comes into work. Success of others with the fixed person, they get pissed off. They feel threatened. Whereas on the growth mindset, hey, that's cool. Let's all celebrate together. So the question I have for you, where are you? Do you have a fixed mindset, or do you have a growth mindset? I hope you have a growth mindset. I believe everybody in this class has all the intelligence in the world to be successful in this class. I believe in each one of you. I wouldn't have allowed you in this grad program unless I thought you can be successful in this grad program. I'm not in the academic business just to take your money. I'm in the academic business to be a teacher and hopefully teach you some things. And so I believe that each one of you can be very successful in this graduate program. Again, how do I define success? Is not getting grades. It's you learning, and 3, 5, 10, 20 years down the road, you still remember some things from this class and other classes in the graduate program. This brings into another area. It's not really with mindset, but it is with mindset. It's the growth and learning goals. I think we've talked about this before, but it's good remembering this stuff. So a person who has performance goals, that means all they care about is grades. And so they're going to set up goals that are easy to attain. The typical person who has performance goals have a fixed mindset. They're linked. We talked about in the strengths presentation, the students that were taught just in a strengths identification tended towards performance goals in their classes, and so that means they had a fixed mindset. Where learning goals, when we have learning goals, that means that we want to learn, which means we want to seek meaning and personal growth when we're in classes. And this is typically linked with the growth mindset person, which it's not too surprising there. So our goal, again, is how do we encourage a growth mindset? So one of the things that we have to do as a teacher is that we have to understand that students are in control of their own learning. They can learn. You are intelligent, and there's no reason why you cannot learn math. We got to get over that roadblock. You can learn math. Now, you may need to have a certain teacher who can teach you how to learn math, but I believe that anybody can learn anything if they're taught and they're given the skills to learn. And again, you have to have that attitude that I can learn. So you have to focus on the learning. We have to learn how to learn. I'm trying not to get on a soapbox, but sometimes I think our K-12 system is not doing a very good job on teaching students how to think and how to learn, and I don't know how good of a job we do it at the undergraduate level across the United States either. It's the critical thinking skills. I think in an athletic training, students have to learn critical thinking because they have to make clinical decisions based on the signs and symptoms and all those type of things. So that's critical thinking skills. You have to learn how to do that stuff, but you have to know how to learn. So on the first day, or we can say week in our class, because online classes are a little bit different, but first day, second day, in a class, if you're a face-to-face class, if you're a clinical instructor, we want to do some important things. One thing we can tell students is how to be successful in this class. Give them the guidelines. Study every single day. How to study. Rewrite your notes. Whatever strategies that'll help your students to be successful in your class. So also, you need to give your students clear expectations. What do you expect from your students? Being strategically clear with what you want from them. What are my expectations of you in this class? I try to provide those in the first week of our class. Read the books, listen to the lectures, do some outside resources, reading. Hopefully you can connect with other students in this class so you have understanding. You can work with other students in the class to be successful. The other thing is to maybe talk to or have former students come into your class and talk to the students about how to be successful in this class. Obviously, you're going to pick students that did well in your class, would be good role models. I do this if you watch the expectations of graduate students. That's the whole purpose of why I made those videos in the Moodle orientation course. I've done these things in that particular video, and I ask students when they first start the program to watch that. If you haven't watched that and you're new in this program, go to the Moodle orientation class, and if you don't know how to get to the Moodle orientation class, email me and I'll give you the directions on how to get into that course. But what the former students will do is they'll help the new students understand how to be successful in this class, in the class or a class's program. It's a good thing about an athletic training education program. We do a lot of student-to-student, peer-to-peer mentoring, and I think that's healthy. We talked about the strengths, helped students understand how they can use their strengths, their talents, their gifts to be successful in a particular class. That's it for our mindset presentation. I hope this has been helpful to get the concept of what mindset is about, and hopefully you can use this when you're teaching. And I look forward to hearing down the road, hopefully years down the road, that hey, I still do that stuff. I'm still trying to foster the growth mindset in classes.